There were 3 types of albums heavily marketed towards kids and tweens in the late 90s/early 2000s, at least here in the US. I can't really speak for other countries. And these were Kidz Bop, Radio Disney Jams, and Disney Mania. And I owned at least one of each. Hard to believe each of these are over 20 years old. What Kidz Bop are we on now? What the? 74? Oh my goodness. I owned Kidz Bop 3. I wonder why I didn't get the first one. I mean, I was alive for it. I was in the demographic. Anyway, this video is about Disney Mania. Hello everyone, my name's Aloubell, and while Disney Mania never reached the outrageous amounts of albums of Kidz Bop, it still has 7 albums under its belt, along with 2 remix/themed albums, the international spiritual successor series called We Love Disney, which has an impressive 15 albums under its belt, and the recently released album entitled A Whole New Sound.
But Aloe, you've been talking about it for a while. What exactly is Disney Mania?
Well, I'm glad you asked. But before we get into it, special thanks to Audistant, Row994, and my other channel members, as well as Lysander and Jalen, and others who donated over on Ko-fi for supporting me and my channel. If you want to support me as well and keep this channel alive, you too can become a channel member by clicking join, donate on Ko-fi, or commission me for a chibi on Artistry. Links down below. So to answer your question, Disney Mania was a series of albums released between 2002 and 2010 in which mainstream artists as well as Disney Channel stars would sing classic/popular Disney songs in their own styles. So it's a bunch of Disney song covers, but often the genre of music, instrumentals, tempo, etc. of the song would change to suit their fancy. The tagline was literally, "Superstar artists sing Disney their way." The lineup of singers was actually pretty impressive. I'll show you the covers of the albums just so that you can get an idea of who was involved. Keep in mind that the album covers don't show everyone. But as you can see, many artists participated in this, which makes it really, really cool. Believe it or not, there was a time in history when Disney was actually widely loved, respected, and not so controversial and tiring, and most people had a fondness for it and found kinship with others thanks to it. Hearing famous singers sing these songs is not only cool because you get to listen to awesome people sing some of your favorite songs from your favorite movies, but there was something about it that just felt cozy in a familial way. Because despite these people and their different kinds of music living their varied lives, they united for the nostalgic charm of Disney, which is something many of us can get behind. And it's probably not far off to say that many of these artists were Disney kids themselves and had a blast contributing to the magic. And speaking of their contributions, I mentioned earlier that many of these song covers were in a different style than the original song. For example, Someday My Prince Will Come is a waltz-like ballad in the original movie of Snow White. But when Ashley Tisdale sang it, she made it more of a faster tempo pop song. I was personally okay with that, as all I really care about is something sounding nice rather than 100% accuracy. But there were select others who were not. While the people I'm about to talk about were in the minority, they were a loud minority, so I used to be under the impression that their opinion was what most people thought. See, there's this idea that Disney Mania ruined many of the Disney songs because of the artist's decisions to change the atmosphere or general sound of a beloved sound, I guess. Granted, I only heard this sentiment from YouTube comments under these Disney Mania songs, but there were quite a few of them. And I was baffled, since I found most of the covers to be a lot of fun, even if they were different. But as time went on, Disney created more Disney Manias and spin-offs, and even indie artists not affiliated with Disney quite frequently interpret these songs in their unique styles. And more often than not, I see nothing but love and support for these covers. So, I eventually realized that those initial negative sentiments were in fact in the minority. Rarely do I see anyone nowadays complaining about the covers, and that just feels so validating. I should have always realized how popular Disney Mania was for the sheer fact that it had sequel albums. If no one wanted it, then Disney 100% wouldn't have bothered to make them. But in regards to the argument of Disney Mania, quote-unquote, ruining certain songs, I won't sit here and say that I love each and every cover of a Disney song that I've heard. I don't. Some covers are definitely better than others, and some genre changes I'm okay with compared to others. But you know, that's kind of how opinions work. And plus, you can't please everyone all the time. I might not like each and every cover, but I can appreciate the variety of sounds. But if you're curious, here's a list of songs I remember not caring for too tremendously. Also, is anyone else tired of the argument where someone says that something nostalgic is quote-unquote ruined because a new version came along and remixed or reimagined it? Don't get me wrong, I sympathize with that sentiment and have probably said that as well at some point, so I'm not infallible, but I don't think the word ruined means what so many people think it means. When something is ruined, that means that it is messed up / damaged beyond repair and loses all of its value. Some things you like can get ruined, but if we're talking about a song getting remade or a show getting remade, regardless of the quality of the remake, the thing you like isn't ruined because the original still exists. You can always go back and listen to / watch the beloved original, and you're allowed to not like the new version for X, Y, or Z reason. Just stop using the phrase ruined. It's usually incorrect. Now, you can, however, say that the new version's existence is ruined. You just can't say that the old version is ruined because of the new version. I mean, I guess this is also subjective, since if you say that the new version ruined the old one for you, then fine. But that's not usually how the term is used. Anyway, I got off topic. If it weren't for Disney Mania, I wouldn't have grown to appreciate Disney music as a whole. What I mean is, as a kid, I had a hard time liking the slower or more dramatic or orchestral songs, or songs that just sounded like they were from much older productions. They bored me, which means I didn't like A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes, Beauty and the Beast, the song I mean, Once Upon a Dream, Colors of the Wind, Bella Notte, and even Can You Feel the Love Tonight. I never hated these songs. They were always comfy and reliable, but I didn't tremendously care. And there's also more songs than just on that list, but you understand my point. I never wanted to sing them or think about their lyrics. But if you put a hip-hop or pop sound to it and increase the tempo a bit, heck yeah, I cared. I never realized how cool many of these songs were until Disney Mania appealed to my tastes. Suddenly, I care about the lyrics. Suddenly, these songs are awesome. And since I grew so fond of the Disney Mania version of these songs, when I'd go back and watch the original movies, I was excited to hear them and hear their intended sounds. As I grew older and became more involved with music due to being a musician, I could sit and really appreciate the original songs and their instrumentals, which would even extend to songs that I never heard a pop or hip-hop cover of. My eyes were opened, and that's all thanks to Disney Mania. I only ever owned the first Disney Mania, so that's really all it took for me to appreciate classic Disney music more. Thanks to YouTube, I eventually had the chance to hear the other songs on the other albums. But before that, my only other exposure to some of the songs was via music videos on Disney Channel. My favorite of them was definitely the Disney Channel Circle of Stars covers of Circle of Life and A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. You want an explosion of nostalgia as a Disney kid growing up in the late 90s / early 2000s? Definitely go check those out, as they're still a bop to this day. Plus, the music videos in themselves had such a fun, friendly vibe. You have no idea how much hype it was back in 2003 to first see these Disney Channel stars from our favorite shows get together to sing these songs. Believe when I say that it was an event. It literally blew my 10-year-old mind. And you know what? I'll extend this awesomeness to the Do You Want to Build a Snowman cover that was sung by a new bunch of Disney Channel stars 9 years after the first group. This song was not on a Disney Mania, but I'm going to include it because it's in the same spirit. I wasn't even watching Disney Channel at that point, so I didn't know who most of the stars were, but I still felt some type of way seeing them all together sing a song. I didn't know who they were, and it still felt like an event. That's just the magic of seeing and hearing a bunch of people across different ages, races, cultures, styles, and tastes rally together to celebrate the nostalgic charm of Disney. Let's face it, Disney nowadays has built up some bad faith and often leaves a bad taste in the mouth of many of us. It's a sad state of affairs for sure, but by golly, would I be lying if I said I hated it? I can't hate it. I never hate it because of the nostalgic chokehold it has on me. Anything related to classic Disney just tickles my inner child and makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And that's why Disney Mania and its successors work so well. That's why even people beyond these albums sing their own song covers. Deep down, we cherish the memories, and thank goodness nothing can take those away. Plus, the songs sound nice, so that also helps. Here are some other Disney Mania favorites of mine. Now, something that annoyed me about the Disney Mania albums, as well as their spin-offs, is the outrageous amounts of song repetition. What I mean is that way too many of the artists would sing the same song. I mean, if that's their favorite song and they always wanted to sing it, fair enough. But as an enjoyer of these albums and Disney songs in general, it would have been so cool for way more songs to be represented. Way too many people have sang A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, A Whole New World, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, Colors of the Wind, Cruella de Vil, It's a Small World, I Want to Be Like You, Go the Distance, Kiss the Girl, Part of Your World, When You Wish Upon a Star, and several others. I get it. These songs are great and iconic, but variety is nice. That's all I'm saying. Most of the represented movies have songs that no one has sung, in these albums specifically. And these songs are, but not limited to, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, Prince Ali, Be Prepared, villain songs in general, now that I think about it, any song from Tangled or Princess and the Frog. Keep in mind, Home on the Range had some representation in these albums. Home on the Range. Anyway, Just Around the River Bend would have been cool. Gospel Truth. Not even I'll Make a Man Out of You. Like, what? There's so many others. Like, why not songs from Oliver and Company? And since When She Left Me from Toy Story 2 was sung, as well as I'll Try from Peter Pan 2, as well as He Lives in You from Lion King 2 that I just remembered, that means that songs from sequels aren't off the table. So we could also include songs from Little Mermaid 2, Lady and the Tramp 2, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. I could already hear you guys typing. Yes, that one in particular isn't a good movie, but the song Jennifer Love Hewitt sings called I'm Gonna Love You is such a sweet song. I love that song. It's so cute. Other sequel songs could be included too. And you know what? High School Musical got some representation in the final Disney Mania, so that means that we can include songs from other Disney Channel musicals such as Camp Rock, The Cheetah Girls, or Lemonade Mouth. The sky's the limit.
But Aloe, Disney Mania's all done. They don't make any more, so they lost their chance to include these songs.
Now that's where you're wrong, Mon Ami. Well, you're not wrong in that Disney Mania has ended, but the successors are alive and well. The first round of successors came from the albums entitled We Love Disney, which was first released in France in 2013, and after that, up until 2021, various other countries had their own We Love Disney albums with songs sang in their most prevalent languages. And it's not like it was the exact same songs in the same order, just sung in different languages. No, artists from each of these countries sang whatever songs they chose in their language. So, the songs from the French album of We Love Disney were different from the Latin American version of We Love Disney. The countries that had their own albums were France, Australia, Italy, Germany, Indonesia, Sweden, Latin America, and the United States. Altogether, there were 15 We Love Disney albums. I don't know if you could listen to each and every one of the songs from these albums on YouTube, but I know for sure that the English songs from the Australian and US's versions are, as well as the French and Latin American ones. And while the We Love Disney albums ceased in 2021, as recently as 2 months ago, Disney began to steadily release singles from a new album entitled A Whole New Sound, which consists of pop punk, pop rock, and alternative rock artists doing their renditions of popular Disney songs. So even after 22 years, the spirit of Disney Mania keeps chugging on. But even if Disney weren't officially releasing new cover albums, like I said before, people around the world release covers of these songs probably daily. And I think that's just really awesome. Disney Mania isn't just the title of compilation albums of Disney cover songs. It has sort of, in a sense, been a larger phenomenon probably ever since Disney and its movies/music came to be part of the cultural zeitgeist. For many of us, Disney will always be in a special place in our hearts and minds, which is why so many of us want to express that love in some way, shape, or form. In this case, it's the love of Disney music and how it brings many of us together, and how we want to express that by singing it with our own flavors to share it with others. And to that I say, keep 'em coming, guys, and I'll keep on listening. So tell me, are you guys also fans of Disney Mania and its successors? Which covers are your favorites? What's your favorite Disney song in general? Comment below with your thoughts and the musical notes emoji, and let's get this conversation started. And remember, I'm the artistic Aloubell. I review things, I rant sometimes, and rewrite stories occasionally. If you enjoyed this video, I'd super appreciate it if you subscribed and joined our family of bells. We also have a chill Discord server if you ever just want a place to hang out. The link to that is in the description below. But as for now, that's all there is. There isn't any more.